In this video, I'm going to answer the #1 question that I get asked about handmade books. What kind of paper should I use? So I'm going to give you the 4 questions that you need to ask yourself when choosing paper for your books, and then I'm going to tell you what my 4 favourite papers are and how I use them. So the 4 questions are: how am I going to use my pages? What type of book am I creating? What do I have available to me? And what's my budget? So let's start out with the first one. What are you going to use those pages for? If you are a calligrapher and you're writing with a fountain pen, you won't be choosing a heavy watercolor paper with a textured surface. However, if you are a watercolor painter and you work wet in wet, you will not be choosing a very thin sketch paper. So you need to match the type and weight of paper with the medium that is going to go onto the paper. If you're a collage artist and layer up loads and loads of layers of matte medium and fabric and papers and all sorts of different collage, you're not going to go with a very thin calligraphy paper. Think about also if you use a lot of pens, do they bleed through? So you don't want to choose a paper where it's going to bleed through. Also think about, am I going to need to put this paper through the printer? Do I want to create lined paper? So that's another consideration when thinking about what am I going to use that paper for? Then the second question is, what type of book am I creating? There's a big difference between an everyday notebook where you jot down your shopping list versus a family heirloom where you're putting in your wedding photographs. Perhaps you're creating an artist book in an edition, and it may go in collections or even a museum. That's a very different quality paper than perhaps an everyday art journal that you have on your desk with coffee rings on it and lots of experimentation. So think about the type of book, the longevity, how long it's going to last, what it's going to be used for in an everyday setting. I have lots of everyday notebooks that I throw in my book and they get battered around, so I use an inexpensive paper for those. But then if I'm choosing a very special watercolor journal that's going to be a gift for my friend, I'm going to choose a really nice expensive watercolor paper. Thirdly, is budget. Budget is not unlimited. As much as we would like to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on paper, and so you're going to need to look back to the type of book that you're creating when you're thinking about how much to spend on the paper. An heirloom book, one that's going to last for a long time, you're going to want to spend some money on some good quality cotton acid-free paper that's going to last a long time. Whereas if it's just a budget notebook or journal that's maybe going to be stuck on the fridge for your shopping list, you're obviously going to spend a lot less. And finally, sort of linking into that is availability. Certain papers may not be available in your country or your area, and you need to decide, am I willing to spend the money on customs and shipping to get me that paper? So if I'm fortunate enough that I live in the United States and I have access to lots of different papers, but if you're in Canada or you are in New Zealand or Australia, you have challenges with customs, shipping, and obviously geography. So that's something to think about. If you get your heart set on having a certain kind of paper, unfortunately the shipping may be horrendous. Some people also like to shop online and others like to shop in person. So that's another consideration. If you like to shop in person, what's available to me locally, or am I going to have to travel? For me personally, I quite like shopping online because it gives me more choice. I don't have many art supply stores around here. But then I need to think about who's going to offer me free shipping. Because if I'm ordering a stack of, 100 sheets of paper, if I don't get free shipping, then the cost really adds up. Remember, if you're forced to shop online and you don't really want to, and you're nervous about choosing paper, lots of places have little sample packs that they will send you for a small fee. So they may be worth investing in before you order, say, 50 sheets of a certain type of paper. And finally, when talking about availability, I just really encourage you to shop what you already have, or shop your stash, as they call it. Look around your studio and see what do I already have before I go shopping. And don't get me wrong, I love to go shopping for paper. I could order it all day long. But oftentimes I find if I just kind of look around, I already have the paper I need without going out and either buying or ordering more. And then if it really doesn't sort of answer the criteria that we have talked about, then by all means, go buy paper. I'm never going to tell you not to go buy paper. Those are the 4 questions that I think you need to ask yourself when choosing handmade paper for your book. Next up, let's take a look at my 4 favorite papers and how I use them in my handmade books. The 4 papers that I reach for all of the time are Cardi paper, Reeves BFK, Mohawk Superfine paper, and Blick drawing paper. Let's start out with Cardi paper. Cardi paper is handmade in India. It comes in 5 different weights, 150 GSM all the way up to 640 GSM. It comes in different sizes. I really like these 22 by 30 sheets. In the US, they come in around $5 a sheet. They come in smaller sizes as well, and you can also buy these pre-made book blocks, which are also really nice. It comes in a smooth surface or a rough surface. So I always choose the smooth surface, and my favorite weight is 210 GSM. It comes in white, but it also comes in 3 shades of grey and black. And that black is a really nice paper for photo albums. It is acid free because it's handmade. It doesn't have a grain, and it's made from 100% cotton. So this is going to last you a very long time. The way I use it is in my everyday journals, where I use a lot of wet media. So in this journal here, you can see I've used a watercolor wash, pen work, and some collage. And then in this book here, I've used heavy watercolor paint, I've used some gouache, I've used acrylic paint, and also pens. And it holds up really, really nicely to that. It's my go-to journal for any kind of wet or mixed media work that I'm doing. Next is Rives BFK, which is made in France. This comes in 5 different weights, and my favorite is the 250 GSM. It has 6 neutral shades, including a cream, a tan, a black, and a couple shades of white. I love how soft this paper feels, and I mostly use it for printmaking and collage work. It is acid free. It is 100% cotton, so it's a very good quality paper. But because it's made by machine, it does have a grain that you need to pay attention to. I use it for eco-printing. This is a rust printed book, which I will add collage work to. This is a jelly print. It's really nice on a book cover. This is some cheaper drawing paper inside, but it makes a really nice book cover. So I use it for printmaking, and I also use it for collage, because it holds up really nicely when you add items to it. So you can glue several layers onto this Rives BFK. So printmaking and collage work is primarily what I use Rives BFK for. My 3rd favorite paper is Mohawk Superfine paper. It's made in the US. It comes in a variety of weights, including text and cover stock. I use the 80-pound text weight paper, which is 118 GSM. It comes in various shades of cream and white, and you get a smooth or an eggshell surface, both of which are great. This one here is the smooth. If you purchase it from large art supply stores, you're most likely going to find it in very large sheets. I personally like to buy it straight from the manufacturer, Mohawk Connects, because I can get it in these 19 by 25 sheets, and I find that much easier for storage. I will link below to the exact paper that I buy. This is acid free. It only has 25% cotton, and then the rest is wood. It's less hard wearing than other papers. And because it's made by machine, it does have a grain. The nice thing about this is it's designed to go through your printer, so you can cut it down to 8.5 by 11 or A4 sheets and put it through your printer. So it's great for printing lines or grid paper. And that's what I use it mostly for. I use it for writing journals. So this journal here is specifically for writing and making notes. I didn't print lines this time, but you certainly can do. And then this one here is another journal for writing. This paper just feels high quality, it feels smooth, and it's really nice to work with. So this is a great paper for everyday and kind of special occasion journals for writing in. And last but by no means least is this drawing paper from Blick. So this is only available in the US. It's a 80-pound or 130 GSM drawing paper, kind of off-white. And if you're not in the US, I bet some of your big box art supply stores like Hobbycraft have got something very similar to this. So I would encourage you to kind of search them out. The thing I like best about this is it's a really good compromise between quality and price. These 9x12 pads, it does come in lots of different sizes, from 8x10 all the way up to 18x24. This 9x12 pad with 70 sheets is just over $5, which is a really good price. It only comes in the one color, so it is 100% wood pulp, which means it's not going to last as long, but that is obviously reflected in the price. It is machine made, so it does have a grain. And the way I like to use this paper is for if I'm doing huge stacks of jelly printing or paste papers. Because of the price, I'm not worried that I'm going to waste any of it. I can make lots of different ones, and some can turn out better than others. So it's really nice for creating stacks of prints like this. And then those prints can be used as book covers just by themselves, or you can even wrap them around bookboard as well. The plain unprinted paper then is great inside everyday notebooks for writing and for sketching. So in this little to-do list, a little memo book, I've used the drawing paper there. This here is a traveler's journal that's got these 2 notebooks in them, and I'll probably get through one of these in a couple of weeks, so I don't want to spend a ton of money on the paper. The inside paper is the drawing paper. Then on the outside, this is some Cardi paper that I decorated with some inks. So this is a great everyday notebook and drawing paper to use inside your books. And as a bonus, the cardboard on the back is nice and sturdy. So if you run out of bookboard, this is a really good thing to use as a substitute. So I hope this video was helpful. We will include links below to all of the papers that I talked about. And I encourage you to add in the comments what your favorite papers are for your handmade books and how you use them.